I hope you guys all had fun with that Monster Festival event for those of you who were playing it, and the relatively low power level of that event, and all the jank playable. That is not going to be the case this event. This event is probably maybe one of the most high power level events we've ever had in Master Duel. Like, for example, look at this deck. If you just take a glance at this from a distance, or no, even if you look closely at this event, just stare closely and try to figure out what's different between this and the constructed branded Despia deck. Like, the original Fusion event was one of the first Master Duel events we had, and it was so early released that it was when Despia was released pre-Guardian Chimera. So the power level of the event of that first Fusion Festival was quite low, and it was dominated by Despia. Right now, this Fusion event, Despia has every single ounce of support it has available besides Verte Anaconda. Like seriously, this is literally you can take this deck right now from event into the rank ladder, and you would not have to change a single thing. It's unbelievable that this is legal. The main hit is Albion the Brand Dragon, so you're limited to one Albion play. The fact that you don't even really need to send it, because all you really need is to get the search from once, and that's probably going to be good enough for you to win the game. That's like ignoring the fact that you can recycle Albion with Lubellion, you can recycle it with Branded Retribution if you really need to, but like you honestly do not even need to do that. And aside from the Albion, another nerf would be no lack of Garura, which makes Super Poly, and theoretically it makes Super Poly worse. However, if Brand Despia is going to be like the most played deck, or one among the most played decks, you don't care about lack of Garura because you have better Super Poly targets anyways. So yeah, they limited Lubellion to 1. Most builds only run 1 Lubellion anyways because you could search this, dump it off Brand Diffusion. So I don't know, they really thought that this would be a hit that does something. Brand opening to 1 is like a consistency hit, I suppose. So maybe 5-10% of the time you're gonna brick slightly more with this deck. But yeah, I'm just flabbergasted that that's all they hit. So I've already made a couple guides on how to play this deck in the normal ranked meta. You can take those combos I showed in those videos, literally just do them verbatim in here in this event, because all of that shit is just as legal here. The only thing is there's one brand High Spirits line that involves Verte that you can't do. So a singular combo line is changed from normal rank, but everything else is the exact same. So yeah. It's not much more to say, bro. Like, prepare to play against this deck. Play this deck if you own it, and prepare to play against this deck if you're not playing this deck. And also prepare to lose a lot of mirror matches to random ass Super Polys, and your opponent resolving Ash Blossom on you, and you know, not resolving on them. So yeah, I can already see the Reddit post about branded right now. Branded Fusion to 1 was not enough. You had to hit it harder. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention another way this deck got buffed. Okay, Cashier monsters, Unicorn, limited. Also, the Diablosis, That's banned. Get this out of here. So you don't have to worry about your extra deck. And that was probably one of like the bigger problems with playing random Despia and ranked with Cashier in the meta, was that sometimes that you had to run a weird extra deck with multiple copies of some stuff. Well, that doesn't matter anymore. They limited Albion, but without the extra deck ripping stuff, you're never gonna lose the Albion. You're never gonna lose the Belly anyways. So don't worry about losing your extra deck now too. All right, next up in line of the ridiculous decks legal this event, we have Purrely. The only card in the entire deck that's hit is Purrely Gnar. So, I mean, that was a clear hit. Like, they probably didn't want to have an unaffected towers shit out legal in the Xyz event. But that doesn't mean that the deck is dead at all. In fact, you would probably pivot to a blind second build, such as something like this, and you would just go for purely like happiness OTKs, which the deck already does normally anyways when it goes second, or you can stick your fat ass Zeuses on the field, which again, Zeus is legal in the Xyz event, so go ahead with your like 4, 5, 6 material Zeuses as well. And yeah, this is it's like gonna be really annoying because it's insanely hard to stop going second. You have so many extenders into level 1s. And all the main deck monsters are legal. Purrely, every single spell is at max copies. You have, because this is a Purrely deck, you have insane amounts of room for non-engine. So Gamma is extremely powerful going second. Lightning Storms, Triple Tactics Talons. You still got room for 9 more hand traps. And you know, all the rank 1s, like they can break literally any board with a maximum of just 2 cards needed, like at most. And oftentimes you literally just need to stick a single monster, and then your opponent's either dead or their board is clear, or their board is completely gone, and they gotta play under a fucking Zeus that has infinite activations. So yeah, the main deck, because this is a going second build, I put in some more board breakers and going second cards, or cards that help going second. Again, every single Purrely card, I keep saying this, it's at max copy, so you don't literally have to change any Purrely ratios in the main deck. And then the extra, instead of the 2 Noirs and all the random links you played, I just put in 1 of every single useful rank 1 Slacker, Summon Nightingale, and Fucho. Depending on the situation, depending on the board state, you're gonna find one of these that's gonna be able to just ram into your opponent and then force a Zeus through. And Princess Spright is probably not as useful going second as it is going first, although if you ever do manage to get this off going second, that means you probably already won the game anyways. And this is Ensemble Blue Robin, you're never gonna go into this. Because you're going second, right? So you're already breaking the board or killing them, and you're probably not gonna try to end on this afterwards. But I mean, it is there, but it's not really a UR that you need. And Baby Tarragon is cute. And then you just have to have 2 of every other legal Purrely, and the 1 extra happiness that you still probably don't go into. But you have room for it now, so why not put it in? And you're gonna see a lot of Brand Despia and a lot of Purrely. These are what I predict are gonna be the 2 most popular decks at the event by far, not even close. So yeah, it's good to be prepared to face these 2, or just play these yourself if you own them. Now, speaking of going second decks, there are a lot of going second decks legal in this event. Mikanko, I'm pretty sure, is mostly 99% full power. They just limited the ritual because, you know, clearly that's a hit that's gonna actually do something. You have Numeron, I believe. Yep. Numeron's legal. Minus the 1 off Numeron wall. Oh no, if only there wasn't like 10 ways to get to this or anything. And the new Galaxy Eye support. If you're a Galaxy Eyes player, Galaxy is also legal. This is the going second deck I own. It's probably the most expensive one. And basically, I'm just saying, you might even get up to a third or up to like a half of your games you're gonna be playing against just blind second decks. And this is another one. Tried and true 8-axis. Summon a bunch of level 8 monsters, go into a bunch of level 8 Xyz, and either kill them with Numeron Dragon or Zeus their entire field. If you're wondering what they hit for this deck, they hit Gizmek Orochi, and they hit Pot of Desires. Well, Pot of Desires is like 3 draw cards in the Gizmek Orochi. I replaced the Gizmek Orochi with Short Shield Limit Dragon, Joseph Rothschild Dragon. This is basically just another free level 8 extender, because, you know, there's like 20 million level 8 monsters that special summon themselves in the entire game, so they weren't gonna ban all of them. And then you have the Kaiju package, which is mainly, honestly, I'm not even sure Kaijus are that good this event, but it's mainly to facilitate Slumber, because Slumber is the best card in the deck, and if you resolve Slumber, your opponent's gonna die that turn. The Board Wipe Plus gives you a Kaiju as an extender. And you have the Danger package, and you have the Alphas, obviously. You have the suite of going second cards: Lightning Storm, Change of Heart, Raigeki, Duster, Triple Tactics Talons, Trade-In plus Danger is still as broken as ever. Draw 2 plus a removal spell, and it unclogs your hand of dangers if you open multiples as well. And the interesting thing here is probably the 3 Nimble Beavers I put in. So these are normally divas, like in my actual deck, to facilitate level 8 sync or level 10 synchros. But in reality, a large reason why Diva was so good and why I'm running Beaver now is because the rank 2 pool, and by rank 2 pool I mean specifically Mannequin Cat, is insanely broken in this deck. Mannequin Cat basically just gets you any level 8 monster from your deck for free. So the Nimble Beaver itself is a level 8 extender, essentially. But the neat thing about Beaver is because it puts Mannequin Cat on the field. So I explain this every time I like do a profile on this deck. I explain this interaction because this is like one of the most important interactions that you would need to know about this deck. Is Nimrod Dragon gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all Xyz monsters on the field. So normally, if you make this, right, and all you have is like a Draglubia on the field, you would have 9 ranks of Xyz on the field. So Nimrod Dragon would be a 9k. In order to kill your opponent, you either need to attack over a monster with 1k or less attack, or on a clear board, which is most of the time that's not enough to kill any deck by itself, unless they like self-burn themselves, like Spright, for example. Usually, you need to clear the board before you go for a Nimrod Dragon in order to OTK them. With Mannequin Cat on the field, that changes completely, because now you have 2 additional ranks of Xyz on the field. That means the Nimrod Dragon is not 9k attack, it's 11k attack. And that means it will OTK through any monster that has 3k or less attack. Which basically means this can OTK through pretty much any deck in the game through a single monster. Even better, it OTKs through any Kaiju you give your opponent. Dogoran is the highest attack Kaiju that you play, and Nimrod Dragon with a Mannequin Cat on the field OTKs through the Dogoran you give them. So yeah, that's a neat interaction. And yes, if you're wondering, Dogoran is the optimal Kaiju to run because it has the most attack. So it facilitates you being able to summon Alpha the most. You can go into any rank 8 Xyz, and with the Dogoran on your opponent's field to bait stuff out, and then still summon the Alpha afterwards. and it also has enough defense to be killed by Pain Gainer. Why this is the only kaiju that's a UR, I have no idea. Well, I mean, it's no one's pretending this deck is cheap or anything. Okay. The rest of the extra deck, the other rank 2s you probably will never go into. Downer is if your opponent makes you go first, and you have a handful of kaijus and alphas that you can't summon, well, at least you can end on a 4 material Zeus, possibly. That's probably not going to be enough, because if they made you go first, they're playing a going second deck, and they can definitely play through a single Zeus, but you never know. It's better than nothing. Lancelot is attack directly, send the card, make Zeus easily. This, never go into. This is what you attach underneath Numemon Dragon. You never summon this. Xanathon, you never summon this because it's prevents special summoning from the graveyard, but you usually want to kill your opponent that turn, so you don't want to extend duel past the turn, your first turn. The Axiize is just a way to play around hand traps. It's a monster negate, so if you have extra extenders, you put this on the field for protection. Dingirsu is the best rank 8. Non-targeting removes a card. Zombie Vampire. So the other way to OTK with Numemon Dragon, without, if you don't have Nimble Beaver from Mannequin Cat, is you have another rank 8 Xyz on the field. So you have 2 rank 8 Xyz on the field with Numemon Dragon. That's a 17k Numemon Dragon. So that's also an OTK through anything. So Zombie Vampire just lets you more easily make 2 Xyz, because you make this and then you mill 4 and special summon another level 8 monster, so that you only need 1. So you need 1 less extender to make double level 8, double rank 8 Xyz. And also works really well with Talents and Change of Heart. You take your opponent's monsters and you can treat them as any level. As long as they have a level, you can treat them as a level 8 for the Xyz material of Zombie Vampire. And Pain Gainer 7 Sins is just overlay on top of any dark rank Xyz to give your Zeus 4 materials and 2 activations. Yeah, this is just a note on blind second decks in general. Be prepared to face them. In fact, I'm going to cover one more going second deck too. Okay, so next up we have Spright, and I know you must be thinking, what? No elf, no sprint? What the? Why? What? Bear with me. I'll explain. So, obviously, without links, you lose Spright Elf, which if you can't already tell already, this is a blind second build, and you're trying to OTK your opponent turn 2, so not having Elf as like extra resources and follow up, it's not as important. Not having Sprint is a big deal because Sprint is just free bodies, and obviously you're gonna miss out on having some bodies by not being able to dump Angler with Sprint, obviously. And another big deal is, because there's no links, Gigantic will always be at 1600 and it won't be at 32, so you might need to find a little extra damage here and there. But at the same time, all you need is a clear field and 2 level 2 monsters, and that's game. Because then you have Gigantic into Blue, into Jet, search Gamma Burst, and that's already over 8k. That's why we run all these board breakers, max amount of board breakers, Dark Holes, Raigekis, Lightning Storms, yada yada yada. Another side effect of not having links is the certain going second cards, such as the stealing ones, such as Change of Heart, Mind Control, and the take effect of Triple Attack as Talons. They're also not as good because you can't just take your opponent's monster and go into the sprint, obviously, and full combo that way. So I'm not running any of those, and for Triple Attack Talons, this is more of a... Most of the time, you're probably just using this to draw, honestly. And in a pinch, you can clear 1 monster and use it to attack your opponent, and that's just having clearing 1 of your opponent's monsters and then hitting them with it is usually going to be the difference between 8k or not. It's often going to be the difference between dealing 8k or not as well. So, all that being said, you see there's another level 2 engine I'm running here on top of the Nimble Reavers and the Anglers, just Dark Bending Beast. This is not very common in Spright these days, since with Sprint you always have access to Nimble Weaver. You have enough bodies if you do your combo. Without access to sprint, we don't have a consistent way to access the Beaver engine or take advantage of the nimble anglers. So for those who forgot how Dark Beckoning Beast works, because it's been a long time since it's been used, you normal summon this, you add this, you activate this, you add another one of this, and then its effect lets you summon the second one you search. So there's your 2 level 2 bodies on the field right there. That's nice. A bonus is Openings of the Spirit Gates has another effect where you can discard a card to special summon a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your graveyard. So the idea is after you use this as Xyz material, and it gets hits to grave, you can then discard another card and use this as an extender to special summon Dark Bending Beast again. So it's like you have 3 bodies. And the great part of that is you can discard Nimble Angler. This is why we're running 3 Nimble Anglers, because now in order to truly take advantage of Nimble Angler, you want to draw into this. I'll show you a couple ways you can get it out of your hand. Obviously, we don't have access to the nightmares like Phoenix or Cerberus. That's what made it really insane in normal ranked ladder, since you can just pitch these from your hand whenever you draw them. That's why we ran 3 of them, just because drawing them is so good. It's still good. Obviously, if you draw an Angler with a Dark Beckoning Beast, that's absolutely insane. That's like 5 bodies right there. That's OTK through anything pretty much. You can do whatever you want with the Xyz. And the sprite ratios, we're just running the good sprites and then 1 of each of red, carrot, and pixies. I would rather just run more copies of like Beaver and Dark Bending Beast, monsters that get you 2 level 2 bodies on the field, than 3 special summons like pixies for red and carrot, since they're at the end of the day they're only 1 body. So yeah, and for Maxi too, sometimes you don't want to use Maxi. If you see your hand is like a few sprite monsters, but Maxi or like just 1 sprite monster and Maxi is your only level 2 normal summon, you might want to just consider holding on to Maxi and just using it to combo that way. So the real interesting part is what we're using to fill in with the missing Link monsters in the extra deck. The Gigantic Sprite, the Downer, the Zeus, the Onibimaru, those are all standard. We can run Centaur because Mirror Jade is in this meta, and this is just to clean out the Mirror Jade. And if you have Smoke Ninja Shadow Mosquito, you gotta run Ninja Shadow Mosquito. I'm not skilled enough to pull this from my legacy packs, and I am not crafting this shit. I'm pulling legacy packs until the day I die just to get this. So I'm going to be playing without this, but if you have this, obviously that's huge. This sets up easy LTKs when you don't clear your opponent's board. Now let's talk about the rest of the Xyz. So Phantom Knights of Curse. This is one of the less important ones, but it essentially just turns one of your opponent's monsters to 0 attack. So if you can't clear everything, or if all you could do was like Tactics takes 1, this still sets it up to where you can attack over your opponents for massive damage. Cat Shark is just probably not as good because the main target was Gigantic at 32, but since we don't have that, everything just has mediocre attack, so it's probably not worth going into this. Unless you want to make Zeus with it. But yeah, Mannequin Cat, if your opponent's on any dark strategy, you just get the Tutor, Sprite Blue, or Jet from your deck directly, so that's nice. The real spice of the extra deck is Digesto Phoenix, Armor, and Armor Cap. Digesto Phoenix is kind of more for the Ninja Shadow Mosquito tech. So you can target a wind monster and it can attack twice during each battle phase. So you can imagine if Ninja Shadow Mosquito with the 0 attack and your opponent takes battle damage, you can make this attack twice and just ram into your opponent's monsters. Boom. Easy game. Armor Kappa. So you can detach Imperial against 1k attack. So this is basically a 1400 rank 2 monster. But during the battle step, when attack involving one of your monsters occurring, you can discard a card for the rest of the turn, that stuff probably doesn't matter, but you can any rank time you make a rank 2, you can discard a card, which means you still have access to discarding Nimble Angler from your hand to getting Nimble Beavers from your deck. Now, it is during the battle phase, so you can't do anything with the bodies, but that basically gives you an extra 2 bodies for free to boost with Gamma Burst. So that's like just a free 2800 extra damage anytime you draw Nimble Angler at minimum. If you don't draw with Dark Directing Beast, you can still always make Armor Cap to get discard Nimble Angler and get value that way. That's why I'm still maxing out on Nimble Angler. And Sundayu, you can make this with 2 Nimble Beavers. And if your opponent has a fat ass monster that you didn't clear, well, now you get a token out of that, and you can. This is a rank 2 that benefits like Gamma Burst as well. So honestly, the thing you rarely search smashes at all. You can get away with even cutting smashes and running 40, because you're only going to run smashers if you somehow don't draw into any of your non-engine monster clears, or you don't draw enough of them, and then you need to get rid of something desperately. But a lot of times, if you just resolve Dark Hole or resolve one of your board clears, you never end up searching smashers anyways. You just always search Gamma Burst. So yeah, Smashes is optional, you can cut it. But yeah, this is yet again another going second deck. And this is the one that I'm least sure of how good it is, just because I haven't obviously been able to test this version in particular, but definitely I will once the event comes. And if you want me to play any of these decks for the event in particular, or if you have any questions or possible suggestions on other decks, just let me know in the comments.